So,
Welcome everybody.
we wanted to let's start it up, right?
Yeah.
We made Kanon wait an extra hour. Let's get right.
Yeah, Kanon's got a very busy
do
schedule
this.
today as well.
Brother Kanon, let's
yeah.
introduce you.
No, we're good. Okay.
The man, the myth, the legend. Kanon has done. I don't know if you guys. Probably everybody here knows Kanon. Come on, let's be real. But from BDO to Lost Ark to beyond, right? BDO, yeah. Sorry, I had to start with that. Your Striker video is part of the legend. It's part of the mythos of Kanon. So
It was the start. It was the inception.
yes,
It was the start. Yeah.
It's still the Striker Bible, right? People still go and check that out.
Yeah. I think people actually still refer to it for like beginners. Yeah.
Bro, I know I did. I went to it because I started with like Sorceress, went on to War Dancer, then eventually went on to Striker, just kind of keeping up. But I went to your videos.
Oh,
man.
I thought you meant BDO. The BDO.
No, that's what I meant.
Oh, my
okay.
bad. Sorry, I was went to Lost Ark then. No. Jumping the gun. Okay,
okay.
go on, carry on.
We're talking about good games here.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Damn. All right, so starting off with BDO becoming legendary in that world, moving on to Lost Ark, becoming legendary in the Lost Ark world, casting tournaments with the likes of Captain Flowers.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
That was awesome, except for one thing.
What's
I'll
that?
take it to my grave. Your hatred for Paladins that tournament?
They're broken. What do you mean?
They were not.
Yeah, they were.
They were not. Hold up. I'll take it to my grave. But we'll skip it. We'll talk about another time. We'll talk another time. Anyways.
Okay.
And moving on into more of a
Captain
more or less
Legends
variety.
fucking goated, by the way.
Oh, dude, Captain Flowers was
Fuck.
the best. Like that was
Just so you know, the man off the camera,
Mhm.
goated.
yeah.
Goated. So nice. Like, I could like. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I feel like I should, because like someone's actual character, like they're not like character in a video game, but their personal character is like, to me, it's like the most important thing in the world, right? And that man has a good character, so you know, big shout outs to Captain Flowers. Sorry for interrupting you though.
Oh,
but
you're
go
good.
ahead.
Absolutely. I was just I'm just announcing your accolades. You can interrupt whenever you like. You know.
Keep talking about me. Go ahead. Sorry for interrupting you.
And of obviously of many reaction videos fame, everybody's reacting to your stuff now as well. In the more variety space, doing also doing Blue Protocol this last weekend. Welcome to Bevs with Ben. I don't know if you have a drink, but
I got one.
Gamer subs because it's
I
6
got
in the
water.
morning. Water's
I
good.
had-
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because I mean, I think are we all sponsored? You guys are both sponsored by Gamer Subs, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can actually say this because we're all part of this team, but I feel like it's a problem that I drink their stuff every day. Like I'm afraid. I'm afraid because I literally take it every day because it's really good and it's the best source of caffeine that I've actually had. It's even better than coffee. And I don't know if you guys know this, but it's like one bottle of Gamer Subs, it's like the same amount of caffeine or very close to the same amount of caffeine as like an Americano like at Starbucks, because it's two espresso shots, right? So you're essentially getting like the same amount of caffeine. It's natural caffeine and it tastes fucking great, you know? So I'm like, I just take that because like the caffeine high is even better and I don't crash with Gamer Subs.
Oh yeah,
So I
that's
just
the
take
best
this
part.
every day. But it's not, because I feel like there's no way that could be healthy for me in the long run. In the long term, I'm a little afraid. A little afraid.
Afraid
You know
if you
what's
come off.
unhealthy in the long term? Breathing.
What's that?
And just living. Everything's unhealthy in the long term. Let's be real. You'll be all right
That's
with
true.
gamers.
But I know what you mean.
pretty
I know
sure.
I know what you mean about the old Gamer Subs. It does. Like the first time I had it, I was like, okay, this tastes pretty good. Just put it in some water, like give it a shake. Tastes pretty good. And then like half an hour later, if that, I'm like, come on, let's get your game on. I was like, really? Let's go, man. Like, it was. I was like, whoa, I didn't expect it. I mean, I drink coffee every day, but gamers, that was a different level, man. I was good to go. Good to go.
I still drink it every day too. when I started doing the tournaments in Lost Ark, I was like right before a Popper Gamer Subs. Drink that, and I felt
Dude, it's so good.
fantastic. Usually, the whole tournament.
That's so
And
good.
yeah, it works. It's great. Anyways, everybody use the hashtag GamerSubs for your favorite person. That was a good promotion. I appreciate
Yeah, slipping that one in there.
That's how we do it, man. That's how we do it.
So how are you feeling, Kanon, about the current landscape of these many betas in a row, and how are you feeling as a person?
Oh man, that's a good question. Dude, well, for my personal perspective as a content creator, it's both exciting, overwhelming, stressful. It's just like it's just a combination of emotions, right? But like as a content creator, it's a window, and we were talking about this a little bit before we went live, but you know, I kind of have two sides to me. 50% of me is a passionate gamer, just like everyone else, and then 50% of me is a content creator, someone that very much enjoys the entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial side of things with content creating. So growth is something that I very much, you know, focus on with my channels, and this is that time, right? Like, you got a beta test, and specifically Blue Protocol, I know nobody else is playing the beta test, so that's even a bigger window of opportunity, and that's what it is. It's just a window of opportunity. So the 3 weeks, it's been crazy. I prepped for it for sure. I've been waiting for those dates for a while, definitely scheduled around them, and it was just, you know, you do your best, you give it your all, excuse me, and if your videos and your content does great, then you've knocked it out the park, right? But it's tiring because it's unhealthy. There's no way, because this was the first time there's been a situation where it was back to back to back. And at first I was a little bit concerned because originally Blue Protocol, the beta test was supposed to be like the last week of the month, so I thought it was going to coincide with Diablo, so I thought I was going to lose a weekend. And the moment they announced it would be on the 31st, I was like, thank God. But at the same time, it was like, oh my God, it's like 3x the work. But I never was turned off by it. I was very excited because, you know, I'm obviously very passionate about content creating, and here we are. Finally, we're done. But it's kind of, well, the weekend is done. The stream hours are done. But right now, it's like all about getting the YouTube videos following it, and then starting next week, I should start, you know, chilling out a little bit. So that's good.
Well, that's it. As soon as you finish, as soon as you finish something like that, you've got like your Twitch VODs, anything else that you've recorded. Actually, you know, you don't get Twitch VODs, do you? I see that
I didn't, but I did for the Blue Protocol. I had to turn on a VPN for Blue Protocol because there's no way, because like the space, like I could not, because I have to record two versions, right? Like I need clean footage, game footage, which I do with my GeForce, and then like the stream version, because both are very useful. And the fact that this game isn't coming out for fucking the rest of the year probably, or whenever the next beta test is, definitely months, I need to have footage of everything just in case, you know, because if I'm trying to put out consistent content, that's going to be necessary. So so I had to turn a VPN on for the sake of Twitch so that Twitch would save my VOD, and it did, and I downloaded it. So thank God for that, right?
That's a 9,000 IQ play right there to get your VODs. That's good.
I had to.
Yeah, you need it, man. It takes up so much space, as you say. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is once you finish something like this, it's the same with like me and just the Diablo's just gone. Like, I've got all this VOD content, and I'm like, okay, I need to like sift through it, get highlights, take it off, like put it into my editing software, and then like make videos and stuff out of it and put it up. Like, it's a lot of work, man. A lot of work. So yeah, man, I mean, you're clearly passionate and clearly pushing, and I appreciate you joining the podcast, man, and putting this into your busy schedule, man.
No, thanks for inviting me. Well, first of all, I enjoy doing podcasts. I love podcasts, and you know, getting an opportunity to catch up with you guys, and anytime I can collab with any streamer or content creator, I'm definitely happy to do it, especially people that I know for sure.
Yeah, we
So I
haven't had a
appreciate the
chance to
call.
sit down in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while since. I mean, Ben and I we DM on occasionally, but we don't really talk, right? Like on a call or anything like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been a while since we've had an opportunity to sit down and be on a call. So
Yeah, it's been a while. The last time I think you and I were in a call was we were chatting on stream. You were streaming Lost Art, and I hopped in like after I finished up my stream. And you had like everybody in a call, and I just came in and I just started talking shit.
Oh really?
Like,
I don't even remember that.
It was like I think Oliver was there. Oh, sorry. I think Stoops was there.
Yeah.
It was like Laffy, and then I hopped in, and then gosh, there were a few other people. There was like 9 people in that chat. It was just like
okay, yeah.
It was one of those days in the beginning when you started having everybody in, and I was like, I'll just come in real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first question following your beta weekend extravaganza, how are you feeling as a general thought about Diablo 4?
Ooh, man. You know what? So this is content creator Kanon on the bench here. Okay, this is just as a gamer, right? Just as a gamer, completely being honest here, because this is not my channel. I have no reason to like promote anything. By the way, it's so funny hearing people say like, "Oh, he's getting paid by Blizzard." I'm like, I ain't getting paid shit. Fucking hell. And let's be real here. Even if I was on good terms, even if I was in communications with Blizzard, we all know Blizzard doesn't really. They're not known to pay their content creators.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know why people think that. Anyways, I'm not here trying to shit on Blizzard because I don't know Blizzard that well.
Right.
But the gamer side of me, I'll be honest, man, I had so much fun playing Diablo 4. Like it is for me, even though I know the biggest growth for my channel from a content creating perspective is 100% going to be Blue Protocol for sure. The game that I'm the most excited for as a gamer, though, is honestly Diablo 4. I had so much fun playing that game. It was the most fun that I've had since Vanilla Arcade.
Wow, man.
I don't know what it was about that game. It has its issues, and because like we didn't experience the end game, right? The journey up to end game was so fun, and I'm very big on just trying to make like theorycraft builds and try different things and itemization. So, you know, the attractive elements of an ARPG. The issue that I have with ARPGs is that I'm an MMO guy and I like MMOs. But Diablo is an MMO, man. There's no way you can tell me it's more an MMO than an ARPG after playing it 100%. Maybe it starts feeling a little bit more ARPG-y, like at the end game where, you know, I don't know, maybe it's just an endless grind of the nightmare dungeons. But so far, the content that we got, it's 100% an MMO that has ARPG elements to it. Like, for example, I can join your world, you can join my world. And I think those are actually very convenient elements that other MMOs should adopt. But if you look at the baseline structure of the game and you were to take that Diablo title away and then compare it to, like, let's say Lost Ark for example, dude, it's an MMO. It's 100%. Yep. So it's like, for me, I'm playing this brand new MMO, top-down action combat, great combat system. I was a little bit surprised. I wasn't sure if I was going to fall in love with the combat. I did. What really hit home with me was a class. I think this is very important regardless of what game you play, but a class that you kind of resonate with. Like, that's another issue that I have with Blue Protocol. I love the combat, but there's none of those 5 classes really hit home with me. So hopefully, you know, new classes come out and that'll be good. But with Diablo, man, Twisting Blades Rogue, that was, dude, I was building Twisting Blade Rogues, bro. I was building it before, like, I when I saw the skill, I was like, I'm playing this. Like, before I even play the game. Like I would sit in my stream and I would be theory crafting Twisting Blades builds before I even played it. And then I got to play it and it happened to be strong and I was just like, I'm gonna jerk off to this. You know what I mean? So it was it, you know. So bro, I'm super excited about Diablo 4, and I want to try and, if I can get my name out there as a content creator in that space, which is what I'm really working hard to do, which is difficult because Diablo's already saturated. You already got those ARPG guys. It's difficult, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we got to do what we can do, right? You know, I'm not going to just not make content for it. I'm going to try.
Yeah. Did you
so yeah.
Oh, so you finished now? Okay, because
What's that?
what I was going to say is, did you ever consider going ranged? Because I know you're a melee guy, right? Like when it comes to games,
I'm very much a melee.
Did you ever consider going ranged rogue?
Oh, absolutely. I tested that. I tested every build that I could with ranged rogue, and I played every other class because as a content creator, I feel like I do need to understand all the classes, and that's why I played everything. And I tried. I think rogue is a very interesting class. If we are going to talk specifics about Diablo here, I think rogue is a very promising class, and it's one of the few classes where every single one of its core skills has a lot of potential. The issue with ranged right now is that, I mean, obviously it's not good as good as melee right now, but ranged has a lot of potential, but it needs a little bit more, which I'm sure it'll get, because it needs different legendaries, right? Like excuse me, barrage in theory is good. Like penetrating shot is in theory very good because it penetrates mobs. So it depends on the build that you're using, but I'm an inner sight guy. I like playing inner sight. So if you're playing inner sight, rapid fires not the best, right? Because if you have a target that's in the back, you're not going to hit the target, right? But something like barrage, where you play shotgun melee style, or even penetrating arrow, I think penetrating arrow with the inner sight is definitely possible and can be insane, especially with the legendary. But the issue with that right now is that you don't have access to the capstone, and you burn way too much resource, and you can't refill the energy bar like you can with twisting blades and some of these other these other builds with it yet. But when you can, and energy doesn't become a problem, and you're starting to pick up, you know, the capstones and additional skill points, then I think we're going to really start seeing, like, my eyes are on penetrating arrow. I think penetrating arrow is going to be really fun, but even rapid fire is really nice. But yeah, we just have to see. I think ranged has a lot of potential. We just have to see more from the legendaries. Twisting Blade stole the show, but it only stole the show because it had the best legendary and synergized the best with inner sight, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, seeing your video, we did bring it up on last week's podcast. Seeing your video taking down like the world, but you basically soloed it, and it was really impressive. It's really amazing because the inner sight is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Single target against the boss. Because I made the build. Like, I brought it up on stream, made a rogue. I ended up with all characters at 25, but I made the Twisting Blades rogue. And yeah, it's incredible. Zipping around, all the mobility, because you've only got one defensive skill on a rogue. But your mobility and your utility, that's like part and parcel of your defense, right? Being able to just get out or whatever and jump back in. But God, my God, the Twisting Blades, single target, man.
Bro, and that was
crazy.
Just so you know, that was the first world boss. So that was before everyone got juiced, right? I feel like I feel like that is an asterisk that should be noted, because that was before people were really built, and that was before people were really juiced, and that wasn't even optimized. Like my build there isn't even optimized. I only had I think I only had like 3 legendaries that were actually relevant to the character. Like it, and Twisting Blades wasn't even on my weapon. It wasn't even on my bow, right? So I didn't even get double the effect on the Twisting Blades. So it wasn't even optimized. It's just really strong. It's just really strong.
I'm gonna
what class? Oh, go ahead. Are we switching to the other one?
Yeah, I'm gonna swap to the other scene.
Okay.
And bring this one up.
He's gonna pull up some videos, Kanon, if you wanted to go to the
I'm gonna mute you there.
Yeah.
So I've brought up because we were just talking about Twisting Blade, just so it's in the background here while we're talking.
Yeah.
But this is your your video, Canon, of the twisting blades, so people can kind of see. You can just absolutely spam. Look at this, like infinite resource,
Yep.
pretty much. Just spam.
Infinite resource. See right there, you see how it just fills up again. You get to use it. That's the issue with penetrating arrow. You can't do it with penetrating shot right now. I can't remember, is it penetrating arrow or penetrating shot? Anyways,
It's penetrating something.
yeah,
It
yeah.
figured it out. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, exactly. The snipe shot, right? I think
Yeah,
that
that's the one.
skill is going to be very popular, by the way, because it's literally like an op shot in Counter-Strike. That's the way the skill is designed, right? But yeah, this is just insane. I'm not even playing it right. Like, look, my clones were down for like fucking 7 seconds there. Like, you know, because we're at this point, not everyone's just played this game for like a fucking day, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
literally
we're
day
all
2.
Still,
So I was
yeah.
gonna say, this is
Pre-human
it's
just
the early days of the build that I mean,
You know
like,
yeah.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say, you know what's actually interesting? This is a little bit. I mean, it's on topic, but a little bit different. A little bit of a different thing. But so like I'm looking at this and it reminded me, like, because my build is actually not optimized here for for this specific boss fight, right? So
Yep.
I think it's really interesting to see what happens with builds and what the end game experience will be like with builds and characters, because of the fact that you can't really respec for everything. In Diablo 3, you go to this world boss, you're going to be spec for the world boss. Then you do your Nephilims, you're going to be spec for that. You're pushing content, you're going to spec for that. In this game, it's like drying cement, right? Like, you're going to eventually have to choose one spec, one build. So like right now, I'm running Dash and Shadow Step, which I don't actually really need for this fight. So I could actually get extra damage here and pick up a poison imbue or a cold imbue, which would be better for a single target. But it's like, you can't really do that at the end game in Diablo specifically, right? Like, so a part of me is starting to really kind of appreciate that a little bit more, because I think if you allow the players to constantly respec, then that's what ends up happening. You have to have you like, just as a gamer, you're like, well, I just to dish out extra DPS, I'm going to go ahead and respec for this boss fight because that's what I should do, rather than, or this is my character, this is my build. Yeah, your character's better than my character in this, but my character is better than your character in this. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, are you going to go for single target? Are you going to go for fast clears? Are you going to do a little bit of both? Are you going to build, you know, are you going to do it for pushing content? What are you going to build for? So I think it'll be interesting to really see what happens with that dynamic at the end game for Diablo 4. I'm actually very curious as to what happens.
I think that.
Oh, go on, DJ.
Go ahead,
Go
Ben.
on. Go on. Sorry, DJ. You go.
No, go ahead, Ben. I'm still watching the video. I was going to ask about that.
No, it's all good.
Go ahead,
I mean,
go ahead.
I wasn't a huge fan initially when I kind of found out about like the drying cement. I think initially I was like, oh man, it's gonna lock people into their builds. It's gonna, you know, you can experiment as you're going. And during the beta, like, it wasn't expensive. Level 25. It was like
it's nothing.
It was like 1 gold to take off a skill point or something. I don't know. It was super cheap. But I kind of like the idea. I think the more that I thought about the game, I think I kind of like the idea that it does kind of dry in, and you end up with a build that ideally that you can do everything with. And I did try out different builds. Like, for example, with my sorceress, right? I had a fire build going and an ice build going. Fire Hydra, like we know, like, Hydra's crazy powerful. And for fighting single targets, when you've got 2 Hydras fighting a boss, that was great. Clearing through the content, it was really good with like explosions on your enchantment slot. And hey Zen, thanks for the subs.
Zen 1 HP has gifted
our boy
5
Zen,
subs
what's
to
up, brother?
viewers.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so I had the fire build really good for like a single target, and also really good like clearing through the content. But then I tried like the ice build with ice shards, I think it was, and that was exceptional. I felt for clearing through like trash. I just jump in the middle, freeze everything, and then bam, everything would die. And it wasn't quite so hot on bosses, but it still worked. So I think trying to find that balance of, you've got a build that can, like, I've had like really fast clear speed, like decent at boss, maybe flip it the other way, or maybe endgame builds are going to be really good at everything if you get it right. I don't know.
Yeah, part of and that's another thing I'm really excited about my Twisting Blades build is, well, not my, but just Twisting Blades build and Twisting Blades in general is, bro, it's good at both. Like it's really fast at dungeon clear speed, and I love the fact what turns me on about that part specifically is that your clear speed on Twisting Blades, it really does depend on how good you are. Like if you're managing those blades and you're dodging and you're shadow stepping and dashing to the right targets at the right time, it's like you're zooming. Like you are fucking zooming. So yeah, I just love this fucking class and this build. I'm 100% going to main it. And I am actually trying to figure out some other ways, other builds. I am starting to look. So all right, I'm gonna, like, you better not post this video because I'm gonna post it, and I'm waiting to post it closer to launch, but it's a build that I'm working on. Okay, so you fuckers better not steal this shit. The only person I told about this, I mentioned once on my stream, and the only reason why is because Woody was on my stream and I wanted to talk to him about it. Okay,
right.
But I'm gonna be going for a level 50 build. I'm gonna be going. Fuck, you got viewers. I don't know if I want to share this because no one's thinking about it. Even Woody was like, I never tested that. That could work. He's like, I didn't even think about that. And I'm like, I think this is it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, yeah. I don't know if I want to.
You think you got the million view video ready? Like the
well,
build?
I mean, it's not gonna do anything now, but like once the game comes out, if it actually juices, fuck yeah, man. Like it's I don't know.
You're gonna stare?
You don't have to spoil it. You don't
stare
have to
at Kanon. Get him to reveal. Get him to reveal. Oh.
The angel and the demon. You know, like the devil on your shoulder. Ben's like, you should.
Okay,
you should
all right. I'm gonna
right now.
say it here. Are you uploading this to your YouTube, by the way?
Yeah, I will be. You don't.
Okay, then I'm not gonna share. If it was just a Twitch, then I think I would have said it, but I'm not gonna share it.
What if I promise to cut it out?
If you promise to cut it out, I'll share it.
Cut out this whole part. We'll just go to the next question.
Go to the next one.
It'll just be like,
if you share it, I'll cut it out. I promise. I genuinely promise.
Or you could send it to us in Discord, and like chat won't know.
I don't. It's not too many people in here right now. I don't mind sharing it. Okay. If you cut it out,
I will
of the video. You share, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course I will.
So, Twisting Blades is a 2-hit skill. It has a 33% chance of a lucky hit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
With the legendary aspect, you get the extra revolutions. It hits a lot, which means the lucky hit proc rate on it is insanely high. It's like guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And with an inner sight build where even with mobs, you're constantly spamming your Twisting Blades, you essentially have no downtime on Twisting Blade spam. You're getting lucky procs a lot. And let me just tell you that there are some extremely strong lucky hit abilities and legendaries in the game, and there will be even more that we see. Like, for example, there's one that I'm going to be mainly messing with first, which is the Venom. It's like a Venom poison trap, and it removes the cooldown. It spawns like it applies poison damage, but it also removes the cooldown and more. I can't remember the exact wording on it, but it also, one of the things it does is it removes the cooldown on your poison and beam as well. And in the at the bottom of the skill cluster, you can increase your lucky hit chance to, you can upgrade your lucky hit chance 15%. So now that 33% lucky hit rate is high, right? Like at 33 plus 15, 48%. So you got like a 50% roughly, give or take. And there's more ways to push it too. So you have a 50% chance to proc a lucky hit on a single Twisting Blades that has, each hit is a 50% chance to proc lucky hit. And that shit hits like 8 times however many, I can't remember exactly how many total times, you're gonna get the lucky hit proc constantly. So that's how exactly. So that's how I'm going to juice that build even more. Which, by the way, if you look at the Paragon board as well, another reason why I'm taking Shadow Clone, which I didn't mention before, I just take it because I think the 80% flat damage is really good. There's a really good Paragon ability that you can take that juices the damage and your output on your Shadow Clone too. And I believe I think it's like your Shadow Clone also does your imbuements are also applied to your Shadow Clone, which if I take that Venom legendary, which is it's resetting the cooldown on my imbuement, I now also have permanent uptime on my imbuement as well if I take poison. So there's just a lot of things, a lot of variables that I'm going to be playing around with, but that's where I'm going with it, man. That's where I'm going.
So
and I was talking to this with Woody
here, right? L for lucky hit and twisting blades. This is the build, guys.
Got it.
All right,
it's genius.
Yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like super cohesive. That sounds better than what Necro can do. If you're not just running a popcorn corpse explosion build, which is the most boring build in the world.
But I'm glad you brought that up
at first.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this being like the invincible build, like the build, man. Yeah. So
talk about it.
Segueing into Necro. So if guys, if you haven't seen this, chat, I'm sure everybody knows about it anyway. Necromancers, there's a legendary aspect where when you go into Blood Mist? It's Blood Mist, isn't it? You go into Blood Mist, any corpses around, you make them explode when you go near to them, and it lowers the cooldown of Blood Mist, and you're completely invincible. You're like half movement speed, but completely invincible, and it just goes like bam, 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 with all the corpses around, like destroys everything. You're completely invincible, and then the cooldown's reset, so you just press it again, You're basically invincible. It's absolutely wild and crazy that that's even in the game anyway. But yeah, I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion. Like, should that be? Is it too OP, or is it gonna be crap late game? Like, for bosses, it's not that good. For world bosses, it's not that good. Like, you can't generate enough corpses from what I saw. But
let me tinfoil hat for a second. Okay, sorry. So, as a Necro player, we found out something when we had 2 Necros in a party. Their corpses contribute to the other Necros' corpses. So you can create corpses for the Necro to just sit there and spam. So automatically that's like, it becomes an insane build because you just run 1 Barbarian, 3 Necros, and the other 2 Necros just build whatever that isn't corpse explosion, right?
Let me ask you something in regards to that, because I was also running some parties with other Necros. How does that work exactly? Because like when we were doing it, it was, I don't know, it could have been bugged, but like I would see the corpse sometimes and sometimes I wouldn't from my teammates, but I was actually not seeing the corpse more than I was actually seeing it. So they would put the corpse out, they'd be like, where, like, my corpse. So we had to actually tell each other where our own corpses were because we were trying to drag the boss into the corpse. And I feel like sometimes I was able to see it, but for the most part we weren't. But you're saying that you tested it and you're able to see the corpse from other.
You're not able to see everybody's corpses. You're just able to activate them, which I don't know if that's a feature or bug or an issue. But
so like you're activating on an invisible body, you just know it's there.
So our other Necro, I would have corpses down. He would have no idea where they were. And we were doing a farm run right outside Kyovashad. We would teleport out, do that event. He would go out and there would just be corpses everywhere because I was running a shadow damage build, which is the worst build right now. There's so much that needs help. But anyways, I'm running this build and anywhere he went, it was just explosion. And because I was also like creating corpses, we were like, I was like, dude, I can't even corpse explosion. I can't even do anything. And he's like, I think I'm taking your corpses. And I'm like, you definitely are, because he's just a mist running around. Also, the issue The other legendary with Blood Mist is that you can remove the penalty of Blood Mist, which is the movement speed. There's another legend for that. That's another reason that build is so broken. But that aspect of it, I'm thinking like, okay, you run a pet-based Necro build because their damage can stay up, and then you run a Bone Necro. Once the pets are, you can heal them with one corpse. You don't have to take them all really with the corpse explosion build. But then if you have a Bone Necro, they're creating corpses too. You have enough for a boss fight for sure. Multiplying that by 3, plus them creating their own corpses, plus pets can create corpses, plus the golem can create corpses. It's just like there's so much that you can do to funnel the damage into the Blood Mist Necro as of right now.
Right.
And again, we're only looking at level 25. There's a whole lot more game to go. But as of right now, I think that shit is broken as fuck. Like that.
Yeah.
You can't have a class be completely immune to damage and also just pumping damage. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
right?
I agree. The funny thing is, people ask about PvP and shit. I'm just like, don't worry about anything else. Just you can't beat a Necro. Like if they allow that in the game, like forget about this Hydra. People are talking about like Hydra and rogues and stealth. I'm like, no, Necro literally cannot die. And by the way, you can't stay perma uptime just by yourself with the Necro. I did it. I did it. And I even did a world boss on it. I had 0 downtime on my corpse because there's ways to spec to get more corpse, right? Like you can have your minions shed corpses, and you only if you have the max 3-second reduction and you have a decent amount of points, you only need 1 extra corpse to recycle the cooldown. And if you could already get that at level 25, it'll obviously be even easier at level 100, level 50, right? So it is broken. I think it's something that, which, like, this is another thing that I don't understand. It's like, Blizzard is either incompetent, the dev team over there, Blizzard, whoever's running the show, they're either incompetent and wasn't listening to the feedback, or the people that were actually testing it and giving feedback. Like, how do you miss that? Like, that was literally the first thing I was thinking about when playing Necro. Like, can you stay in perma? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, how did they miss that with months of testing? Because I know they have some good people. You have people like Rax and these smart people that are actually testing the game. It's like, did they miss it? And they're not as intelligible as we think, or did they fucking say it and Blizzard is incompetent, or maybe this is just a different build. Maybe it wasn't in the game entirely and this is just a new feature, a new spec, or new something that was added. I don't know.
I'll play the devil's advocate of 5D chess for Blizzard real quick. They knew that Necro was going to be busted because they probably put this legendary in the game for two reasons. They wanted to drum up some buzz that Necro's ridiculous because D2 Necro was so cool. Everybody came to D2 to play Necro. D3 Necro, everyone's like, dude, this is kind of a letdown. Like, it's not as much fun. I love D3 Necro. I think it's super fun. But then they were like, all right, D4, we'll show off, like, you thought this was broken. We're going to show you what you can do in this game. They're obviously going to nerf that. It's a triple, like, it's a self-sufficient legendary completely. You need nothing else for the build to be successful, right?
Right.
And it's that's kind of weird. Like, even with the Twisting Blades build, you can optimize it further. There's really nothing else in the Blood Mist build that you optimize it further. It's just that one legendary, and then you're like, cool, I'm just gonna pop off for ever.
Be like this forever. Yeah.
So
I will say though, if I don't know if you guys still want to talk about the Blood Mist build, I'm happy to. But if we were gonna shift gears from that, this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I feel like out of all the classes that we've actually seen, out of all the classes that we've seen in their kits, bro, I feel like Necro is the worst. It has the worst potential.
Bro, I was saying that. I was saying that.
Nothing there.
I think
I think when
Bone
the game
Necro
comes out, That's Bone Necro. So Bone Necro is the only option in its kit. But we have to see, right? Because like Sever seems so cool. I really want to play a Sever build.
Awesome. Just such
but
a cool
the fucking
skill.
legendary sucks dick. So like we have to see more legendaries. But right now, if you were to remove the corpse explosion build, the only thing that the Necro has that's decent is something around bone spear, right? So it's like a bone build, a bone related build. Everything else just actually sucks. And to be perfectly honest, if you're forcing the players to just be reliant on damage with their minions, it's like, is that really gonna be good at the end game? I don't know. It's like we don't know. It could be juiced. Pet damage could be juiced, or it could maybe not be juiced. But like there's a lot of things that are just not there with it yet so far in this game. Like even the solo, like in what world would you give up 5 to 7 minions for 5% crit rate? Because that's what you get for sacrificing those minions. Like who the fuck is gonna, in what world are you gonna sacrifice your golem for, what was it, 15, what was it, 10 or 15% attack speed?
10%.
Like who the fuck, 10% attack,
It's
like who
not
the fuck is gonna do that? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The active itself on golem will give you it gives you a taunt. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like on top of the damage you're taking this. So you look at these other classes, right? Rogue, every fucking skill in that core skill cluster potential. Barb, scariest every single fucking skill in that cluster. Crazy. Even fucking Druid, tornadoes could potentially be good. Pulverize potentially be fucking really good. Landslide can be potentially really fucking good. A lot of potential. Sork fucking like
just Sork.
we don't even have to talk about Sork. Every
You're
fucking
fine.
thing is good, you know. And then what's the other class we're missing? I think is that it? Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah. And then you look at Necro, and they have fucking Bone Spear, and that's it. That's literally all they have right now. Unless, so what they need to do is they need to have skills like Sever, skills like Blight. Blight has a little bit of potential too. Depends on the legendaries that get there. I'm talking about just looking at the skill mechanically. That is.
Yes, but again, Blight's a really bad spender for damage, but it exists.
Yeah, you never know. Like what if you know, what I'm saying is like maybe what if there's a legendary that transforms it from like a dot to an explosion, and you can scale off the I don't know. I will say this, the other potential, but this goes back to being forced into a pet build. The other potential with Necro is Bone Spirit, maybe like a Bone Spirit build where you're just spending all your meter not on a core skill but on the actual Bone Spirit, and then be reliant on your pets and whatever. So that like outside of Bone Arrow and Bone Spirit, that was the only two things that I thought could be that had potential at this moment in time.
Well, I'll jump in here. So I've brought up in our videos, in our shared videos here, I've got up. This is a bone spear build that I made for Necro during it, and it was actually very strong. I sacrificed the minions apart from the golem because you say like there's no way I was going to get rid of the golem. Having that taunt was like one of my only defenses for this. But I managed to put loads of points into passives, and I actually got to a point where I say basically two-shot one of the bosses with how powerful I managed to get the bone spear up. And I just think that for late game, this is the way. I think maybe with some more skill points, because I've got a free skill slot, I could actually put the corpse explosion and the blood mist in here for defense. Because late game, I don't know how strong it's going to be. But if I go back to the start of this video, I've put in a clip here. We've got the boss. Right, I'll try and pause this. So basically, I've just ramped up a few like buffs. I've got like a 50% extra damage on your first hit, and a load of other like crit buffs and things because I've done like a basic attack. So the boss is missing a little bit of health, and then I fire off. There we go. So we've got a 9,000 hit with a bone spear, which then rebounds. Can I do it quick enough? There you go. That's one hit is gone from about here with the health all the way down to nearly dead because it's rebounded off the wall. So I think the potential for Bone could be really, really strong for late game if you really go into it, because like that got demolished. But I did also bring up another build I made quite early. While like yourself, Kanon, we're looking into the corpse explosion build, there was another one that I brought up, which was like a summoning build. Hold on, let me just bring this one up here.
This was day one, correct?
This was day one. Yeah, and what I had done here is I was using the Blood Nova, I think, or Blood Surge it was called. And this was quite decent, but it was so heavy on essence. I had to focus on a couple of different things to kind of get my essence back. But it hit everything on your screen. So for clearing trash, it was quite good. And it was like a full minion build as well. But I just keep hearing that Necro late game minions, hearing on the grapevine that minion builds are just rubbish. Minion builds are not the way to go. So
you got to figure that happens though, because I mean, if you're going to create a game that is uninteractive on one of the classes, where the only thing the class does is throw out a bunch of pets and like resummon pets and then summon like the priest, like I think that aspect is cool to a certain extent, but it's so boring. Like what?
Yeah, I agree.
You wouldn't have the retention. Like that's why I love D3 Necro, because you had a teleport, you had some sort of movement skills with the blood or blood skills in general. Whereas now you have no mobility. You have the only way you're catching somebody in PvP from the other 4 classes that exist is throwing up the bone wall, right? And there's a legendary that you have with that where you could suck people in and then slow them, which is still not great because you could still spacebar at them. You could spacebar beyond the bone wall. Either way, I think that Necro, like you said, is in not a great spot for any build other than Bone Spirit and potentially Bone Spirit. And I tried Sever, I tried Surge, I tried both blood builds, which was the Bone Lance build. There is just like, it's just nothing works. And it's really, really kind of a bummer because I started off with Sever and I was like, oh my God, I love this class. It feels so good. Now, again, I'm going to main it on live because this is my choice.
Go Sever.
I will. I absolutely will. I'm going to try another melee build.
Because they're definitely going to add.
Absolutely.
We'll have more legendaries. So surely there'll be one decent. The one that's
surely
right now is
Opium.
Here's
you imagine if
problem.
there's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the main problem with shadow damage, it requires you to press 2 buttons before it does normal damage, where you're pressing both of your curses, which is terrible. Like you're bringing up both curses on your bar instead of just one. Like what? I mean, if you're going a pet build, you take Iron Maiden. If you're not, you take Decrepify. Why does it require me to put both down to do 50% more damage? Really? That's it? That's it, dog? Okay. Everything's dead by the time I press those 2 buttons. Anyways. And it doesn't even do that much. I'll go off on Necro for 45 minutes.
Like, I think there needs to be a little. I don't know.
It needs a little bit of love in other directions.
Yeah. I just don't like the build diversity right now, but we just have to see. They could juice it out. But I don't know. I still think that the passives that you get for sacrificing your minions is just not worth. But who knows? Maybe they scale better. Maybe they scale better like in the late game. But like, I don't know, 5%, like it just.
There was a passive.
5%.
There was a passive towards the bottom of the skill tree with your ultimates, I think it was, on the right-hand side, which boosts the passive you get. Which is
if you kill your pets.
Points. Yeah, if you kill, it boosts your sacrifice
total.
Passives. There we go. Make
it
more clear.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, so I would suspect for them to make like solo non-pet builds viable, they would need more stuff like that for sure. Because that's what I mean. He's like just 5% flat. It's like, what the fuck, really? Like, no way.
I mean, that only goes up to 7.5%. Like with that pet. Or with that extra passive, the extra points in that direction, and then beyond that, your capstone like is a explosion based, almost like a dot for shadow damage. Which again, it's after 2 seconds that something happens. Right, if you're stacking enough shadow damage, it's just like it's a weird build.
Yeah, I don't like delayed damage. I'm not a big fan of delayed damage.
And I think that's the issue with Necro is that they like the identity of the Necro has always been the pets, but they're trying to balance that with having like good melee builds, and so far or like good range, other good build.
Bro, I'm definitely gonna be going either Sever or like a Bone Spirit build. Spirit, not bone arrow. I'll probably go sever just because again, I love that type of I love that type of mechanic. It's similar to like twisting blades, right? It's essentially a boomerang. So, you know, hopefully we could put something together that's pretty good for it, but who knows?
I just think it looked cool. Sever looked cool. Setting out that skeleton, like
it's so cool.
and then like comes back. I'm doing it again.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'll definitely. But I don't think Necro's on my top. Like I want to play. Like obviously I'm going to play Rogue, but the second character that I push up is actually going to be Barbarian. I think I go Barb, and then the third character might be Druid, because I actually kind of had fun with the tornado build. But Barb, dude, Barb is fucking juice, dude. That is a fucking class.
You're obviously
gonna be so good.
You're obviously aware of the 359k crit.
Yeah, and that's scary. Like, let's see how it scales. But like for me, man, it's like the damage has to be consistent. In the first question that I ask people that come to my stream, like talking about, like, because I had one bozo come in, he's like, dude, Twisting Blades Rogue doesn't have the highest single target damage. Have you not seen Barb 300k? I was like, what's the DPS on it? Let's talk about damage per second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not accounting for the fucking X amount of seconds that it takes you to build that shit up and be in the ideal situation for you to do it and get the crit and everything else to line up for it. And then sit on like a long cooldown, right? It's like, you're not talking about that. Twisting Blades, God tier, because the DPS is insane. You're literally doing thousands of damage every second with no downtime. It's not that you're seeing a big burst. It's just constant, right? So
also you don't have to stand still.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to stand still. You're moving. So I think, I mean, it's obviously cool. I think it'll be, I would be interested to see how that scales though, because 300k. Okay, despite what I just said about it, 300k is still 300k in the beta, right? That's pretty fucking crazy. So maybe the burst is high enough to sustain decent DPS because it's just that high, but we don't know with the scaling, right? But it would be interesting to see for sure in the end game.
It was scary for me. That as soon as I saw it, I was just like, what the hell? Like, I don't know the exact number that like a normal boss from a dungeon has in terms of HP, but I'm pretty sure it's something like 40-50k. Like from when I was hitting things for like 10k plus like another bit, and it would chunk their life down. Maybe it's like 30 to 50k. I don't know. Like some of the bosses, like to hit 300k, I'm like, bro, is that one shotting a world boss? Like, I don't know.
I think the world boss. I think someone had like a slowed down calculation. It has some like million some odd HP. It has a lot more than that. I mean, even though like you saw the video of Wudijo doing just the solo boss stuff, and murdering the boss, like obviously it takes like 20 to 30 seconds. You could take that and factor in your DPS uptime. Like, I don't think a Barb's gonna do that.
What if you had 4?
What's that?
What happens if you had 4 Barbs? You got a party of 4 Barbs.
You have a great time.
You just got to a world boss and go, boys, this one's dying. And just go up and just go, like a bit of ramp, whatever you got to build, and everyone just goes, bam, boss just dies. Like, is that a thing?
Then, yeah,
is that a thing?
I think that could be, but I think that with the scaling, it's going to get a little out of control, because I don't think we're going to sit here and like 300k is going to seem like a joke in the Diablo endgame. Like, we've all seen people are hitting for trillions in Diablo 3. There's literally like the number would be beyond the screen, so they shorten it down to like 10t, and it's like that. We're getting like Lost Ark territory with that shit. Like that, it's a little bit much. But I think that towards the end game, we'll see some really cool stuff and expand on it, and it's really good to just be able to theory craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. So you said that you're gonna play Rogue to start, Barb as a secondary. How are you feeling about hardcore? Did you make a hardcore character during beta? I don't know.
Yeah, I made many. I was practicing speed running. Dude, I did so much. Every minute of the beta test, I was doing something. Like I could not waste a minute, right? So yeah, I did hardcore on my speed runs. My speedruns actually, like, considering all things considered, the amount of times that I was able to test. The problem with speedruns is like one attempt is like bye 1 hour, right? So there's only you do 10 fucking speedrun attempts. That's half the day gone.
Yep.
So yeah, sorry, I'm kind of fried right now. I'm super tired.
No,
but
you're good, man. You're good.
What was the question was?
Have you tried hardcore? Yep.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not going to do hardcore out the gate. I agree with Crip. I don't know if you saw Crip's video. I agree with Crip 100%. I think it's crazy. I think you'd be insane to do hardcore in the beginning with all the disconnects, all that shit. No, fuck that. Also, I want to push a character. I want to push a character really high, and I want to push as far as I can go. And on a hardcore character, you're never going to push as far as fast. And I'd rather push hard and fast.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I'd rather
you are a
push
man.
hard and
I
fast.
get it.
Yeah,
that's right. So I will do hardcore eventually, but the hardcore later on would definitely be for the purpose of content. Like later on, you know, like how far can I go with a certain thing for stream? That's when everything kind of settles in. So I'm not like hardcore is definitely fun, but we'll see.
But this is it. I in the beta I did a bit of hardcore, but it was exactly as you said. No, I mean I was even talking about this, right? From a content creator perspective, right? We want to get characters to endgame, experiment with builds, make YouTube content on that, you know, build up some videos and things. So we want to be able to do that, but you can't if you're on hardcore. We don't know the game. Like people will get in one shot by a Shava. You know, you've got a lot of the big content creators and a lot of the big streamers, they make a hardcore character, they got to the world boss, hadn't really fought it before. He does that big slice, you get like hit a little bit, and then your health would go like pretty much like you nearly died straight away. Then the poison damage just killed your character. And like the amount of streamers and stuff that had their hardcore characters deleted from one tap of a world boss, and that's the first one. If you don't know the game yet, it's silly to, as a content creator, make a hardcore character straight off the bat. If you were planning to do like YouTube videos and builds and guides, which you know is important. So that, but on that, I got loads of characters to I actually ended up getting them all to 25. I kind of made some builds, did some YouTube content, and then towards the end of some of my streams I was like, right, fuck it, we're gonna do hardcore with the boys. And I got like some of the guys, we got a clan going, so I got some of the guys from the clan. We started a hardcore run, I made a Necro, a blood Necro, very tanky. It's just like I'm just gonna like do the I'm a vampire kind of like Necro, like kind of fantasy, right? Going through it was kind of cool. I was wearing a shield because Necros can wear a shield. Right, level 7, first dungeon we go into. What do we run into? The Butcher. Of course we did, on hardcore. And our party just like scatters, and I'm there like attacking it, do like no damage. What happens? He pulls me, chunk, dead. Like hardcore, my first hardcore experience. Level 7, Butcher, dead. Rip that character. Eventually did make another one, got it to 25. I kind of did it solo, caught up to the other guys. But there were some good moments, Ken, I'm telling you, for like comedy and for like clips and stuff. Hardcore's great.
It's so good.
It's
amazing.
The best,
absolutely.
Because you get those panic moments, and it's cool.
I think it's really cool that they still have hardcore after all this time, because I mean, you have all these people running like World of Warcraft, like hardcore runs of classic and stuff like that, which is like a whole other meta. Obviously hardcore doesn't exist in that game, but that's a cool aspect of it. And then as a content creator, I think that the direction that it goes is like you create content, you create this build, and then you go, all right, I've got the room for defensives, I've got the idea, I'm going to test this in the hardcore setting and then go forward after my season is like kind of complete on this main character. And that gives you double the content almost. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, so I'm going to stream this. I'm going for, you know, this run. We're going to get the max. We're going to go as far as we can. We make the build. Then we go into hardcore. We build it from the ground up, have our defensives. I think that's a great idea. I think that's really cool. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of hardcore so far.
But I'll definitely do it. Just in due time.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. You're not going to do it off the rip. That's just
no chance.
Yeah. I know you're getting a bit fried, Kanon. Are you still good to go for a little bit, or do you want to call it?
I can hang out for a little bit longer.
Okay, because there was from my perspective, there was kind of two more things I wanted to talk about. One was Druid, and two was a little bit of Blue Protocol, because I know DJ's keen to get into Blue Protocol. But if we jump into like Druid, Druid Thoughts, not too strong in the beta.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it should be the worst class, right? It was the only class that didn't have its class mechanic. So it's like the example that I give on my stream. Well, it did. It didn't have its technique slot, but part of their class identity is to be able to equip 17 fucking weapons, right? Like,
Yeah.
so they benefited from that. They did,
Right.
and it's think about like, and if you remove that, like, let's say they could only equip 2 weapons. How well would they have done?
That would have been bad.
Even worse, right? Because they were only just starting to show what they could do. So, in the example that I give is this: take Twisting Blades Rogue, because it's my main, right? Take Twisting Blades Rogue, Inner Sight. You remove the class mechanic, Inner Sight, and then you remove the legendary Twisting Blades effect. Now, how strong is a Twisting Blades Rogue? Not nearly as strong. It's not bad. It won't be bad, but it's not even going to be close to the damage of what it's doing now, right? So that's just one. That's from one legendary aspect and a class mechanic. So, like, it's the same. Like, there could be one juiced legendary aspect for, let's say, Tornado, or for, let's say, Pulverize, whatever that we don't know about, and then the class mechanic added. Now it's all of a sudden like Twisting Blades level. We don't know, but what we do know is that they don't have their class mechanics. And if they're performing up to par with other classes without their class mechanic, that's a problem. I think that's a fucking I think that's a bigger problem than them being shit in our version. So it was kind of interesting for me to see. And I remember I actually had Woody join me on the stream, and I was talking about and reacting to Rax's video. And Rax was bitching and complaining about Druid, and I was just completely confused. I said the same thing that I just told you guys now.
Yeah.
I was like, first of all, I don't understand why he's complaining about Druid, saying it's the worst class he's ever played in all Diablo games. Because that's what he said. And I'm just thinking, and what I said, and this is Woody was in my channel, he was responding to me, and I was saying, number one, this is a guy that's played the game. He's tested the game. So maybe he hasn't tested the end game, but I'm pretty sure he's tested the end game. So if he knows what the Druid is capable of doing, why would he be complaining about a level? So imagine if we played a beta test next week where it was only to level 10, and let's just say Rogue sucked at level 10, but you know Twisting Blades fucking Inner Sight is there. Would you make a video talking about how it's the worst fucking class? No, you just laugh about it, right? You might not be able to say, oh, don't worry, it gets better because of this, but you wouldn't literally complain about it and say it's the worst class. So I'm just thinking, like, is Druid shit at the end game too then? Is that why he's complaining about it? Or did he not test the end game? I don't know. Like, what's the deal with that? That was the first thing. And then the second thing was, if he, again, it was kind of like a reiteration of the first point too, but like, if you've already seen and know how strong it is, it's like, why even have that stance? So and Woody in my stream was like, no, you're right, like, I agree with you. And Woody was kind of saying, like, it's probably for the sake of just content and entertainment. And Woody also said, like, Woody was kind of like, I think he was just kind of teasing Rax. He's like, Woody only plays overpowered builds and he's not invested in Druid. He's a Barb main. You know what I mean? I think it was just kind of like talking shit for the fun, for the lulz. But yeah, I don't know why Rax would have a video that was like that unless it was for the purpose of content and entertainment, because everyone was memeing on it. You know, the 17 damage hurricane became a meme. You know what I mean? But like, like, for me, I'm just thinking objectively, it's like, even if you didn't play the end game, as a max roll guy that's making the builds and telling the people what builds to play, even if you haven't seen the end game, it's like, I would expect him to be smart enough to be able to at least come to the same conclusion that I'm coming to, which is class mechanics not out, so it should be the weakest class. Legendaries are not out, So I was like, Rudy, am I wrong? And Rudy's like, no, you're not wrong. I think I just came to the conclusion that he was just doing for the memes, which makes sense. He's a content creator. That makes sense. But to talk back about to respond to a little bit more to Druid, it should be the worst class. We don't know we know the class mechanic. You clearly get buffs. Obviously, you get buffs, right? You select up to 5 buffs once you have everything unlocked, and it's got potential. I don't know. I actually started seeing a little potential towards the end as well.
I think Druid's fine.
I actually did.
I think it could be more than fine.
Right? Yeah.
And the numbers are there. If you look at the aspects, if you look at the tree, if you look at just the baseline stuff that you can get, they have a lot of good multipliers, and they've got a lot of good skills.
Bro, it's a little theory crafting session, because I asked Woody about this, and this is another thing that Woody was like, yeah, I didn't really think about it, but like, so we're kind of speculating, but like, and this is also an example of how one little mechanic change can make the class god tier. So there's a legendary for Druid that increases the damage by 7% on Hurricane for every second it's up. It's got a 20-second cooldown. Every fucking class has cooldown reduction mechanics, except for Druid. But let's just say they had access to it through their skill tree, through whatever in the end game, right? Through stats, gear, whatever. Like, and I was like, Woody, if you get that cooldown reduction down, because it's an 8-second duration, 7 or 8 seconds, let's call it 8, and you could cycle it to have perma uptime, and you're gaining 7% damage every second on it, does that keep going up? And he was like, yeah, that's what I was saying. And he's like, I don't know. I haven't tested it, but like, I would imagine not. I would imagine not too, because that would sound broken. But there you go. You know what else sounds broken? Perma uptime on fucking corpse explosion mist. Blood mist also sounds broken, but that's in the game. So it's not completely. It is somewhat feasible that it could be a thing, right? But there is a perfect example, nonetheless. That's a perfect example of how one or two things that are added can change the most garbage class and garbage skill, 17 damage Hurricane, into a god tier one.
Question: is Hurricane considered an ultimate?
No. It's
okay,
not.
So
I don't.
They have a legendary right here. Whenever Nature's Fury key passive triggers a free skill, your non-ultimate cooldowns of the opposite type are reduced by 4 to 8 seconds. So you could literally bounce back. There you go. You have that.
Maybe.
So either way. So if you're running a Earth and Lightning build, you would have uptime. You'd be fine. You'd be totally good. The question is, does it count
actually
as the same?
Continue to stack, right?
Because if it does, that'd be crazy, right?
And the reason why I said that, this is, by the way, for those of you who are watching on Twitch and YouTube, this is the type of shit this is the reason why I'm so excited, passionate, and I'm loving Diablo, is because of things like this. I'm just sitting here thinking about these builds, but on that note, every single item that has a limit says it has a limit. That's the reason why I was wondering if this doesn't, because it doesn't say it has a limit. It just said you will usually say up to X amount of seconds, up to X amount of percent. That one doesn't say that. It doesn't. It just says extra 7% every fucking second. That's it. So I was like,
I think you're on.
Well, I've got your Wolf NATO build up. Is this the skill you're talking about? This one here?
No, that's not Hurricane. Okay. Although I should have, that was something else. That was just me trying to mess with Wolves and NATO, because those were the only legendary aspects that I was able to get in time. I got the Wolf Companion ones. That's why. And to be honest, I should have been running extra companions, because you could see my bar is empty. I should have run extra companions because I had the legendary that gave me extra damage per companion, which is why I had 3 wolves on my tornadoes, and my tornadoes were already kind of starting to juice there. So yeah, and by the way, Hurricane consumes no mana, no spirit. So having pets that require that consume no spirit, the potentially infinite scaling hurricane. I'm sure it doesn't work that way because that just sounds utterly broken. But let's just that's also non-meter consuming damage. And then you've got your spirit bar to use whatever. I really want to mess around with Tornado. I think Tornado was more than anything else, there's potential, but I just had a lot of fun with Tornado, more so than the other skills. Pulverize was kind of fun, but dude, tornadoes were really fun. Just seeing all these fucking tornadoes go out, it was fun, dude. It was fun.
I tell you what, like out of all the classes, it's good to be talking about it because I made a like a werebear build that it was like a complete hybrid. I've just put it up on YouTube. But it was I wanted to start with like a werebear build and I got that pulverize passive or that legendary, and it was just so much fun. Like the overwhelm overwhelm damage. You just slam down and you get all these teal numbers pop up. Like that was so much fun. And then I ended up like messing around with it because it wasn't very good against bosses because it was once every 10 seconds. I ended up making a build that used literally all the different elements. Like you went into werebear, went into werewolf for one skill, went used earth magic or nature magic, what it's called, and like the storm, and it actually worked. I was actually really shocked, but it was so much fun running around as a bear, just going bam and just like destroying loads of stuff. I'll see if I can bring it up.
It's like I don't know how that's gonna work like endgame because it seems like if you look at the Paragon board and all these other things, it seems like they do want you to choose between like a transformation in and out, constantly transforming type of build, and a permanently staying in this form build, and a elements build that for some reason it really looks like they're trying to push you towards like a storm and earth alternate build, like alternating build, like what DJ was mentioning earlier, because obviously based off the legendaries. So I don't know, we'll see. That's what it seems like for me. I thought I wanted to it's a druid, so you want to definitely try the transformation, but I don't know, like I had more fun with the tornadoes and elements than the transformation builds.
Yeah, well, I've just brought it up so Jack can see, but I actually had the legendary that was like when you use a storm skill, it buffs your like earth skills, and when you use an earth skill, it buffs your storm skills, things like that. So I basically went up. How the build worked is I would do like a basic attack, which was the like storm one. It also did vulnerable, and then I could just use landslide. And I put loads of point in landslide, and for single target stuff, it was amazing because I had like extra. It's like when it was crit or something, you got like an extra landslide. I can't remember. I explained it in the build. But that was really good for single target damage. So I had that, but then I also had the pulverize, and it just had everything. And I thought it was going to be terrible, but it actually worked really well. And I had a bit of mobility. And it was just so fun. I think the whole point of this, it wasn't like a top tier build. It wasn't Corpse Explosion, permanently immune. It wasn't Hydra, like piano build, with all the cooldown reduction stuff. But it worked really strong, and it was mega tanky because I had barriers and fortify. But the thing with it was so legendary intensive. So legendary intensive. And that was the whole thing with Druid through the beta, is because we didn't have access to the spirit boons and all that stuff. Like to make anything kind of work like decently, you needed so many legendaries, and I think I'm worried it's going to put a lot of people off Druid now because the whole like thought behind it is, oh no, Druid's not good. Oh, maybe it's good at endgame, but are people going to potentially risk playing a Druid if they're like, oh well, I know Sork's going to be good. Oh well, I know Twisting Blades is really strong and Barbarian's going to scale like crazy. Like, would I make a Druid, or is it kind of maybe? What do you think? Do you think maybe it's kind of killed the class off early? Any thoughts?
I don't think so. I mean, to a certain degree, there's going to be some people that aren't going to want to play it just because of the meme around it. But if that's the case, it's kind of a shame. It's really dumb because again, it's like you're judging a class that doesn't have his class mechanic that should be the worst performing class in the beta. So for me, I think any whoever you are, whatever class you're playing, you should really be choosing a class based off of the playstyle that you're attracted to, because everything that we saw in the beta could be completely obsolete. All these builds that we saw, even the Twisting Blades build, it could be like they could be like B tier builds at best. At best, you know what I mean? Like we might not have even seen a single true end game S tier build yet. Maybe. I mean, we probably have, but you just never know, right? So
The
you
question
gotta
is,
you gotta choose the play style. Sorry.
do they give a cap to like how many twisting blades you can? Do they give a cap to how much cooldown reduction you could funnel into a? Those are the questions that remain unanswered. Do they nerf this stuff that we've already seen? Which is probably number switches are prevalent when it goes from beta to live. But I was going to ask you, from coming from Lost Ark, coming from BDO, coming from these games that are in a very different light when it comes to something like Diablo that is going to release globally at the same time for everyone. Coming from Lost Ark, you played on KR servers, you played on RU servers with me. We've both had that interaction. We've all had that.
Yeah.
Sorry, phrase. We've all had that interaction playing on RU,
Yeah.
KR. These builds, they come from the grapevine. They come from KR. They give you the build. Nobody else really gets to theorycraft. That's something that's so exciting about Diablo.
Very
How are
much.
you feeling about that?
Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest appeals that I have with this game is the build potential and all that stuff that we were talking about earlier, right? Like I already mentioned it. And that's a huge so both as a gamer and as a content creator, that's it. That's huge. From a gamer perspective, the fact that I can go out and author my own build and maybe potentially find gold and be the first one to do it, that rush is really fun. And this game's not only is that available in this game because of the nature of being an ARPG, or excuse me, the nature of a brand new game, but the fact that it is an ARPG and they're trying to make it a little bit more a little bit deeper as well also allows us, like, it gives us a higher ceiling of what we're able to potentially put together, right? So I'm super excited about that. From a content creators perspective, one of the biggest turnoffs with Lost Ark was that, man, getting hand-me-down for content. You had to be playing in KR to be to know,
to be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And you got content way ahead of time, and when content was released in NA, you already experienced it. So like so from a content creator's perspective, it sucked. And this is coming from someone who had the option to continue playing KR. And it's also boring. Like, to me, it's like, bro, like in NA, they're gonna get what? Elgasia and shit like that.
Yep.
Elgasia, and then they're gonna get a Con eventually.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? Are you excited about it? Like, I don't I don't fucking, like, I saw like a Con was interested when the Con first came out. I was like,
that was such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Watching all the streamers come together and do a con, that was really cool. That was a cool experience. But the fact that I couldn't do that multiple streamers, that also spoke English, was such a sad time when you're like, okay, I'm just gonna watch these 8 guys do this instead of being able to watch 400 different people all race like for world first. Seeing like you having a group like with Necro or something like that. I would have done a group with like the PvPers or something like that. That could have been fun to see that progression. But instead, we have a lot of people that are complaining about there's too much content coming out too fast. And NA took their foot off the gas when it came to the beginning. I think that was a lot of mistakes of listening to both sides of the field, when a lot of old school players like you, me, Ben, you probably had the same opinion of get the content out, get us caught up, because this is what is going to keep this game alive. That's the more fun aspect of it, is this new content. Because tier 1, tier 2 suck. And tier 3 in the beginning is a snooze. Until you got to Legions, it was just like, what are we doing with this game? And I played since beta, and I'll tell you, like, there was nothing redeemable about Lost Ark other than PvP before Legion Command. Anyways, I don't want to shit on Lost Ark too much. I do have a special place in my heart for that game. I very much love it.
Sure, we all should. Yeah,
absolutely. So you're excited about builds. Ben, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
No, I mean, I know that I'm just conscious that it's getting quite late for Kanon and he's quite fried and he's got stuff to do. So, Kanon, do you want to move on to a bit of Blue Protocol? Are you okay to keep going? Or if you're fried, man, you tell us.
I'm fried, but I'm good. Let's go.
All right, quick.
How much sleep are you going to be able to get if we ended in 30 minutes?
Not a lot.
Enough.
Enough.
I have. Bro, listen, man. I'm not a pussy, dude.
You're a trooper. Fucking trooper, man.
That's probably not politically correct in this day and age, but fuck it.
It's okay.
All right.
Sorry,
listen, man. I'll be honest. 3 to 4 hours is about the average amount of sleep that I've been getting each day, probably for the past 3 weeks. So,
well, hopefully
add a day, extra day to that. And today I felt like, well, actually today I had like 5, but I had like 8 yesterday.
Jesus.
The day before yesterday. That was the first time for a while.
God,
but yeah,
that's a luxury.
And you also do you do work during the day as well. You have your own business, correct?
Yeah, which I might be officially retiring from. This might be my last year doing it.
Damn.
On how, like, where we go with the content creating, like, we'll see. Like, it's I'll have to make that decision at the end of the year. So I'm really pushing hard for this, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I appreciate
that. Well, we're all rooting for you, man. We're all rooting for you. Your content is incredible.
So Blue Protocol.
Yeah. Anyway, so Blue Protocol. So I'll start it off because I have looked into Squat of Blue Protocol because as soon as I looked into it, I saw that it was cartoony, and I don't like cartoony games. Things like Wildstar, things like I'm not.
You're calling it cartoony is like, bro, we should end this segment now.
Yeah. Whoa, there we go. Okay.
It's anime,
bro.
I can't call it cartoony. Fair. It's not cartoony. It's anime. It's different, bro.
Right,
dude,
I'm done. I'm done. It's your podcast now. See you later, guys. I've been shaved off the podcast. It's now Bevs with DJ. See you later,
bro.
See ya. Anyways,
Wildstar is cartoony. Wildstar is cartoony. Okay,
that's what I said. But okay. I'm with you.
Wildstar is. Blue Protocol is anime. It's not anime and cartoon. Cartoon is different. It's different.
Very apparent that Ben's never watched Attack on Titan.
I have
Bleach.
Actually, I have. I like anime, but when it comes, So when it comes to games, I don't like playing cartoony / anime style games. Let's rephrase it for that. So basically, my point is I haven't really looked into it. So I'm excited to hear about it from yourself because now you've had a good chance to play it.
Yeah.
What? I mean, tell me about it. Like, I don't even know how many classes there are. Like.
So I will say right now from so for me I'm happy, like, I'm happy to come back on, to be honest, and really talk more about it in detail if you'd like me to, because there's a lot to unfold with this game. I spent 40 hours playing this game this past weekend, deep diving as much as I could, and I'm confident in saying that there's no Westerner in the world that knows about this, that knows as much as I do with this game, because no one had access to play legally, and the ones that did, they ended up getting banned. Right? I was the only person that pretty much. If I wasn't the only person that didn't get banned, but I certainly put in the most hours, bro. 40 hours. Okay, so I feel like I've got a pretty strong understanding of this game. Not to toot my own horn, but that is more just a testament to like me nerding out and trying to learn as much about this game as possible. I do have a video that I just finished. It's a 25 to 30 minute video and it's a full review, man, with an honest impression, it's an honest review video that really goes through and will walk you through exactly what to expect with the game. But I'm happy to talk about all that stuff here as well. But that should be published within the next 24 to 48 hours. Hopefully my editor can finish it as soon as possible. But at a glance, the game is exactly what a lot of people are going to be looking for in regards to the whole anime MMO thing. because just as much as you not being a fan of that style, there's like a cult-like following that loves that style.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, there is no AAA large-scale MMO that's anime like that, that's true anime like that, that's available in the world, right? So and I feel like that's the reason why games like Genshin became so big, because it was the closest thing to that, because Genshin is very anime like. So that now we have an actual MMO, and it's a full-blown MMO, and it's fucking gorgeous. So the biggest appeal to this game and the biggest draw to this game is definitely going to be the gorgeous graphics, in the fact that it's an MMORPG. That at surface level, that's the draw. So now it's like, well, okay, how about what is it like if we look at it objectively as an MMO? Well, that's now we're judging it based off of it being an MMO rather than, oh, it's in a league of its own because it's the only anime MMO, right? But if we are looking at it as an MMO, there are definitely pros and cons to it, 100%. So the description that I give in my video is that it is 100% a mixture of Tower of Fantasy, which is, like obviously the look of it's like Tower of Fantasy, the anime style, the flashy animations, the hold left mouse button down, attack combo. The combat's not identical, but like in that sense, it's the same. Like it's it's like the long animations. You're locked into an animation in the direction you're facing. It's action combat, but mainly like think of it like Tower of Fantasy shell, because Tower of Fantasy did try to do that whole open world type of thing, right? But it's like mobile and it's not really an MMO, but a little bit of Tower of Fantasy in there. Okay. And then it's WoW, classic WoW. There's so many. This is what surprised me a lot. There's so many WoW classic vibes in this. It's ridiculous. When you play the game, you will be like, it looks like an modern day anime MMO, but the gameplay and the pacing of it is your old school MMO. Okay. Very reminiscent to classic WoW. I even brought that up to a WoW creator, Mr. Stoops, and he was like, yes, it is very much like classic WoW. Okay, so classic WoW, and then obviously Final Fantasy with Final Fantasy 14 with the social aspects and the role play that's involved, and the class feature. It's identical to Final Fantasy. You play one character, you can play all the classes with that character, just equip a different weapon. You're level 1 with that, you re-level it, bam, at will. Okay. And then the last thing was the biggest W for me that I was not expecting, because the biggest thing that I was skeptical about was the combat before playing the game. It didn't look good. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it didn't look good. And I was like,
track of it for a long time.
What did you think?
So like
mid at best.
Yes. Originally, I've told people on stream too, people have asked about it, because I've tried to turn people onto it. I tried to get in the beta, my key fell through, long story. Anyways, from what I had seen up to this point, that combat looked that there wasn't as much skill expression as I wanted. But you having played it, how are you feeling? Like, obviously there's a ton of skill expression in Lost Ark, in the idea of it, not in the the top tier. Obviously everything's pigeonholed in one build, but bringing that over to Blue Protocol, how are you feeling about the combat and the skill expression?
I was extremely surprised with how good the combat was. It was actually really good, and the reason why is because the other game that I would say, so we said Tower of Fantasy, Final Fantasy, WoW Classic, and the fourth game that it's a mixture of is like Dark Souls. The combat is like a single player RPG game. There is a massive emphasis on identifying attack patterns and dodge rolling. If you fight a mob, a single mob at level, not an elite, just a regular fucking Joe Schmo mob, one hit from that mob will deal, it depends on your class and whatever, but one hit from that mob is going to deal 20 to 25% of your HP. So you want to dodge attacks. And if you're pulling multiple mobs, now you have to track multiple skills that are being used by these mobs. You don't want to get hit, so you have high uptime on your dash roll, almost infinite amount of dash rolls, and they are iframes. And it's even cool because there's an emphasis. If you dodge a skill right at the right time, your character there's kind of like a blue flash that goes off that just represents, and it's like a sound. It's just cool because having that felt even more rewarding when you perfectly dodge that attack, because that's the skill. The skill in this game is that, because remember, all your attacks have relatively long cooldown or long animations, and you can't cancel out of them. So if you overextend trying to greed for damage, even if you have super armor up, you're going to take that hit. But most of the time you don't have super armor up, so you just get interrupted, and then you lose the cooldown and you take a big chunk of your health. It's really challenging. So I'm grinding these mobs, but I'm not bored, because the combat is so good. It's a challenge every mob. And then it gets even more challenging as I'm pulling more mobs. And then on top of this, every mob has their own unique skill set. They're not just attack, attack, attack. They're different. Like, one dude will literally backstep dodge your fucking attack, and then you burn a cooldown. Or another dude will do this wind up attack, and then you think you got the timing to it because you got a dodge roll, right? Oh, it's going to come in, I'm going to dodge roll. And then he's got another attack that winds up just a second longer, causing you to dodge roll time the original attack. And then by the time you're out of your dodge roll iframe, you get smashed by it because it was a delayed attack. And then you have other people that literally run back and throw attacks at you they have their own unique skills. So it's the combat was the biggest. It was the biggest W for outside of the graphics of the game. It was the biggest W, and Stoops felt the same way.
Wow. I mean, I'm a huge Dark Souls fan, like Elden Ring. I love the combat in that. So that sounds actually really good. Having the iframes, having that sound, it's almost like getting a parry in Dark Souls, and you get a parry.
That's exactly
and then,
right.
Then you can do like a big hit. That's cool because it's hard and it's super rewarding. No, it sounds really interesting. Actually, I'm curious. I'm curious to see a bit more. But did you say there was?
Yeah.
How many classes did you say there was? 5. Did you just see your hand up?
Yeah. So we have the Aegis. You have the Aegis fighter, which is the sword. I don't actually remember the names of all the classes, but you've got the sword and board. You've got the dual wielding axe class. You've got the mage. And you've got the bow hunter class. It's a healer. It's interesting. It's the bow class. The ranger class is a hybrid healer, and then you have the gun hammer class. It's like destroyer, but the hammer is like half gun, half
destroyer meets gun
hammer.
lancer.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's like Squall's gunblade, only not a blade. It's a hammer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the 5 classes that are in the game.
Okay, DJ, did you have anything else you wanted to jump in with?
So I was gonna say, Kanon, have you played Monster Hunter? Both of you.
I've watched you play Monster Hunter, and I have not personally. It's interesting because the people that were actually in my stream watching, a lot of them were saying things like, "Oh, Monster Hunter vibes" and stuff like that. Yeah. But then my friend that plays Monster Hunter was like, "No, it's nothing like Monster Hunter." So I'm not sure. I wasn't a Monster Hunter guy, so I'm not sure.
So my whole thing when I was first looking at it, like, looking at the closest relation coming from Japan to that was New Genesis, like Phantasy Star Online, like being a massive franchise, and then you have Bandai Namco making Blue Protocol. So that was what I equated it to originally, and now it's like a complete departure from Phantasy Star. And like hearing it from you, I'm like, oh, it's more in that Dark Souls Monster Hunter vibe. Those two games to me are very, very similar, but obviously for very different reasons, like combat wise, just bare bones combat. So being able to dodge monster attacks, being able to like overcome massive adversity, that's Dark Souls and Monster Hunter to me. So that sounds exciting. As long as your combat is good, your game's gonna probably be good, right? Like that's the whole deal. So like even if it doesn't have content, if it just feels good to log in and kill random monsters, that's a big W. This Upside Down says Anthem Keck W. Okay.
Anthem Keck. I remember that game. Oh my gosh.
Shit.
Game was a mess. Anyways, well, so how much time you got, Kanon? How much time you got?
I got a little bit. What do you guys? I'm happy to. If you want to talk a little bit more about Blue Protocol, I'm happy to.
Yeah. I was gonna
whatever
ask,
you guys want to do.
How many classes did you go hardcore on in Blue Protocol?
I played all of them, but I could only go hardcore on one because it's extremely slow. I'm pretty sure there's not a single player in the world that was able to hit level cap on more than one character class.
What was level cap?
Class 20 for the beta test.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
which will be 50 during the launch.
Like from a party standpoint, like how did dungeons feel?
Dungeons, like in what regard?
Just like in terms of enjoyment, like how did the pacing feel on a dungeon? How did the boss fights feel? How did mechanics feel? Like, because you already said combat's like crisp, right?
So if I was gonna talk about the combat first specifically, the combat experience actually it wasn't as good in the raids, in the dungeons. The reason why is because in the dungeons we were running, all of a sudden it was a lot spammier, and when you get spammier, you lose that whole challenging aspect of dueling a mob or something like that, right? So it wasn't as fun, to be perfectly honest. But to be fair, to play devil's advocate, right? It was only a level 10 to level 20 dungeons that we were doing. So it's like, I mean, what MMO out there do you play at level 10 to 20 dungeon and you're like, oh, this is amazing. But if we were just going to look at just those dungeons, they were a little bit bland, to be perfectly honest. They weren't anything special. The mobs look cool. The bosses look cool. So there were, I think there were two or three regular dungeons, and then there are like two I don't know what to call it. There are two other instances that weren't really, they weren't considered, I mean, they're dungeons, but they were like those dungeons, like you've got your like just the dungeons, regular dungeons, and then you had two I don't want to say end game because it's level 20, but let's just call it end game for now, right? You had two end game event dungeons, so to speak. One was called Tower of something, which is essentially you just climb towers. You know, boss on the 10th tower, on the 10th, every 10th floor. 10 floors with objectives on each floor. And then the other one was like a wave clearing dungeon instance, a wave clearing instance where you just get waves of monsters that come in and then a boss, right? And then outside of that, there were two. What? I think there were two. I think there were two dungeons. Yeah, I think there were two dungeons.
Were there world events?
Was there three? Yeah, there was a so the world events that we had access to, you had field bosses and you had the world boss. Field bosses sucked ass fuck. It sucked. The world boss was interesting, but it wasn't actually open world. You had to actually go into an instance and it required a certain amount of gear. That was pretty cool, but it was one of the gripes that I have that I talk about in my video is they need to optimize the game better. This I think isn't an issue. Every game that comes out at launch, most games have that issue and it gets better in time. But there is an issue with optimization. So, bro, it was like a fucking slideshow. One of the concerns with this game is you need a really good computer to run it, dude. Like a really good. And in the world boss, man, it was mechanically cool. Like it was a big boss, and then you had like these laser beams on the sides that you would use to freeze the boss, and the boss would do these mechanics. But but it was like it was laggy, man. I was doing the whole thing probably anywhere from 15 to 25 frames.
Oh,
Did they have a
On
cap on
medium
how many people
settings.
could be in this particular
Yeah,
instance?
there was a cap. I can't remember off the top of my head how many what the cap was. I have it in my footage, but
Okay, we'll check it.
maybe 20, maybe 20. I don't know. I can't remember. It literally shows, like, when you go into the instance, it counts up. It's just like X, just like a battle royale, X amount of players out of X, you know.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what that exact number
Okay.
was. Probably
Right.
20-ish.
How about PvP? Is there any like open world PvP or arena?
No, there's no PvP in this game. I think they've done a good job with the competitive aspect, though. I think DJ, I know DJ's a PvP guy. I'm a PvP guy.
Yeah.
But I think this part might actually sound this part might sound appealing, but they don't have direct PvP, but they do have a ranking system where you compete against other teams.
Mhm.
And the way they do it is by that wave clearing instance. So you get waves, and whoever clears it fastest. I think that's the objective. I didn't do that,
Yeah.
so I'm not 100% sure, but it is a competition between two teams. And I'm pretty sure it's the wave one. It's competition between two teams, and you're competing against each other in time.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then
They've
there's like
said-
rankings and stuff.
They've said they want to do more stuff like that, but they won't add PvP. And I think that's a really good way
Yeah.
to do it because
Yeah.
of the way World of Warcraft's gone anyway. Like, you don't have a lot of people watching the AWC, which is their arena championship. You have a lot more people watching the world first races and the mythic clears. Like, that stuff
Right.
is more applicable to the general audience because you get strategy from that. Whereas like
Right.
PvP, not everybody's going to do PvP, but generally everybody's going to do PvE in your game. So
Right.
I think that's a good way to do it personally. I know that a lot of
Yeah.
people are averse to that, but as coming from a PvPer that's excited for a PvE only game, like, that's
Mhm.
kind of saying something when there's still that competition, that competitive
Right.
aspect.
Right.
So-
Right.
Cool. Well,
Do you
I
want to
mean-
see the world boss? I could pull it up for you if you would
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to see
yeah.
it.
Do you have the YouTube video?
No, I have it. I just have a regular video. I could
Okay.
screen share, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we could do it that way.
Okay.
Screen share in Discord, and then if you want to,
Yeah, I can bring that up actually.
Yeah. So you could leave the activity.
Okay.
Bring this up.
Give me 2 seconds. If I head over to, it's flickering a bit. Okay, hold on. Screen that. Sorry, chat. 2 seconds. Okay, I've left the activity. So if I head over to this one and then do this, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it up. Can I make that?
Cool.
Nope, there we go. Go for it.
Oh, okay. You want me to turn on the sound, or?
I don't think it would. Is this?
It's
Yeah,
coming through.
actually, no sound. I was playing music.
Ah, okay.
Picked
Okay,
up
no worries.
30 people. So
Okay.
you just queue in like this, and then
And your
I was
ping
doing it with
was
my buddy.
good too, because
Yeah, 'cause
too
I'm here in
janky,
Asia.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yep.
looks like a giant rock dude.
It's a bit
Yeah,
janky. I don't know if that's just.
It's a dragon. It's he's very similar to like Garmoth in BDO.
Oh, I definitely know who that is.
Yeah, it's like a
100%.
mechanical Garmoth.
I
Wow.
played
Graphics
so
look
much
gorgeous.
BDO.
Look at that. This is medium graphics too.
Is it?
It's just gorgeous. But look at that world, man. Look at that world.
It looks good, but it's coming up super, like, kind of framey on.
Yeah, it's very janky.
Oh, really? On mine, it's fine on mine right now. I'm not sure why it's
Not sure here,
Uh,
but when you were playing
I'll
it,
try
it's
full screen.
super
Is this-
janky. Oh, that was
is
a
this
bit better.
janky?
Yeah, that's good.
That's better.
It looks
It's
good.
good now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I had to like full screen it for some reason. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, it does. Actually, it
Okay.
does look beautiful, doesn't it?
Is this
Looks
page region?
gorgeous.
Oh man. Oh, that is
this
really
is-
cool. That is so cool. I love set piece fights like this. Like, seeing the background, kind of like the sun coming over these rocks and this
Yeah.
formation. Like, that
Yeah.
is such a cool thing. I'm such a
Yeah.
huge proponent of set piece fights.
Love it.
As long as they're done well, I should say.
Yeah, so this is my first fight doing
Wow.
this. I have no idea what's happening. I'm like looking at this thing. I'm like, what the fuck is this thing?
This is probably important. What do I do with this?
I actually get in it, and then I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
you can
it's
use
not
it.
canon. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you use it to like freeze the to freeze the boss, and you want to freeze him when he's in a specific animation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I just thought it was cool. It's canon using the canon.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's genius.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is
Nice.
It actually has like somewhat like if you're too small and you're on the other side of a monster, it's still not completely impossible to see your character. That's a good important thing. It looks like. Okay. So it looks like okay, and you have 30 minutes and then
yeah. I just
I-
like looking at this, like the fact that the combat is good is great. I just died there. And then
okay.
but again, like when you just look at this, the fact that this is an MMO, like these graphics, there's no chance that this isn't going to at least maintain a niche community of players to play it,
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
because of the look of this.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks so good. It
Yeah.
like I want to it I wanted this game to be everything that I wanted out of a video game. That's how good it looked. Like it just looks so good.
It does actually. Now I'm looking at it because I said I haven't really
It's
looked
so
into it
good.
much. As I said before, like I'm not a huge like anime style or cartoony style looking like games, but looking at this now, what was that?
That was my alt. You have an alt it. You have an alt and it goes into this little cutscene and you juice.
Oh, okay.
It's so good.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it does. It looks good.
It looks so good, man. It's
Chat, what do you think?
it looks like an anime. By the way,
Yeah,
that's what it is. It looks like you're playing an anime. That's what it is.
It's got me more excited than I've been before about the game. Like how so what
I can pull up some other clips here for you guys.
Is
as
it world
well.
release?
No,
That's what I was
Japan's
gonna
gonna
ask.
get it first. This is a
Okay.
this is a version. This is a sorry, this is a clip of me training mobs. So it's a little dangerous, obviously, because you want to make sure these mobs are easier because they have a stagger. You can stagger them. So you just saw how much I took one hit. Look at that one hit, how much my HP bar goes down. They're level
Wow.
14. I'm level 16.
Jeez. Okay.
I'm level 16, so I have life steal on my character, so I'm able to maintain my HP up. But that's kind of like how I would train. I didn't have an alt there. Let me show you. Hold on.
If you want me to take off showing your desktop, by the way, just say I can take it off, turn it back on.
What's that? Mine?
Yeah, because it's whatever's coming through Discord. It's fine. I just see your clip. There's nothing else coming through, but I could see your start bar then.
You're talking about mine?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. I don't care.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of doing the same thing here. This one you can see the alt better because I'm pretty sure I alt here, and you'll see my HP bar just go up. Notice that there's no passive regen.
Okay. So you have a stamina bar based on how much you can roll, stuff like that. Are you immune during the initial part of your ult?
Yes, the whole alt is an iframe.
Okay, that's cool. Okay.
That is good.
Yeah.
So that I mean there's a lot of ideas of how to outskill a situation with what you have available to you. Which
if you're god tier player, you can dodge all attacks.
that's cool. I like
That's
that
at
a
your
lot.
disposal. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like you look when I was able to like focus on my gameplay and not chat, and I was pulling in multiple mobs, and there were mobs because you need to know the attack pattern of the mob. Like it's like you start feeling it. Like it's and chat even notices it too because even chat will be like, "Yo." You know what I mean? It's like, "Yo, actually really fucking good."
Did you see anything of Punishing Gray Raven? It's a mobile game, so not a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what that kind of reminds me of because it's like you have like a dance you're doing with a boss almost. Like, and I think Punishing Gray Raven's a really cool game for that, even though it's still a mobile game.
Right.
But okay, damn, that looks cool.
It
Looks
does.
cool.
I'm impressed with how it looks. I think I would look
Did
at
we
it and
convert
still
another
have
one?
my like, I'm not sure, but it actually looks kind of cool, man. I'm not gonna
We
lie.
converted another one.
So this is an area. So this is kind of like towards the end in the later zones here. I'm just kind of, you're gonna see me. Yeah, you're gonna see. Okay, yeah. So I'm solo here. You're gonna see me really pull. This is dangerous. But this is the reason.
Your
This is
health.
precisely the reason why I like it. Look, I have to dodge everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Every single one. I'm about 2 hits. Well, I'm life stealing now, so I have certain skills that give me life steal back too. Pots are super expensive. I don't have pots. It's
Right.
It's difficult to have pots in this game, by the way. So you got to
Okay.
really, you can't even just out pot shit, right? You don't want to be wasting too much money.
I
So
love
like
that.
I'm just, so like look at this. It's just I'm really engaged with this. I'm farming, and this is the grind. But the grind is enjoyable because I'm paying attention to what that shaman's doing in the back. I'm paying attention to these 4 mobs in front of me. I'm making sure I'm not using a specific skill when I haven't taken a hit in a while. It's like, because these skills I can't cancel out of. So
Right.
every time you see me take damage, it's from it's almost always from being locked into an animation.
Yeah.
I like
Wow.
that. Well, cool.
Like right there. You just saw me take that hit, right? I couldn't dodge roll out of that frame because I was in that animation, and you get punished for it. So
Can you? Is it easy
like,
enough to
just really good?
Is it easy enough to just like, pull like one mob at a time to make it easier, or is it like yeah?
Of course,
Okay.
you want to do that in the early game, but like at my point, at my level, at this point, I'm pretty close to end game, essentially end game. I have skills, I have life leech, and I'm feeling confident, more confident, right? So it's like I said, even if you pull a lot of mobs, you do have the ability to not take damage from anything, right? Like right there, I was in the air, I couldn't dodge that, but that's punishing because there's no passive life regen. Remember that, right? So there's a lot of elements to this game that's just difficult.
Yeah.
And that's where you start seeing some of the classic WoW and some of the old school RPG vibes that are implemented in this game. Like, I don't have any health regen, and I don't have fucking money to buy pots because they're expensive. So I'm reliant on getting back into combat. I just ate that. Ate that. I'm about to die here. Now I got to really be careful. I have 4 or 5 mobs on me.
Oh, 74. 74 HP.
Yeah, so that's my life skill. So, and I died, right? So there you go. That's how it's challenging, because I had to go back into combat because I need to heal. And this class specifically, the only way you heal is by life leeching. Some of your skills have life leech. So I'm going out there. Oh, and by the way, you can res anyone in game too. Most Japanese people just come in and res. Oh, and by the way, he's immune. That's a sword and board class. They have skills that give them full immunity like that. So really good utility. Fucking amazing. Top tier. They're like the gun lancers of this game.
So we got the anime Dark Souls MMO.
This game. Oh, Gunlance, man. So you're saying they're really boring to play, but they're just required in every party? Okay,
no, they're actually pretty fun.
For
this version,
I was excited about Aegis in general. I wanted to check it out.
Look at this damage. I took 2 hits. Did you see how much that is? Like one. This mob is the level below me. This is just a regular trash mob.
It looks awesome. I'm really excited about this game, just in general. But again, this is a D4 podcast, so we'll end it on that. We'll end it on D4.
Is it?
It's mainly D4.
No. You're fine. I wanted to ask you about all this stuff, and I'm more transitioned into variety at this point in my personal stream, so I have tons of questions about all this stuff because, again, I'm excited about not just one game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk about it. Just one final question, sorry, Kanon, because you said that this is coming out in Japan first. Like, is that this year planned? Next year?
Yeah. It's actually pretty close. It was supposed to come out. They delayed the beta test, which I believe probably would have delayed the release of the game, but it should come out Q2, Q3 of this year in Japan. And in our region, it's supposed to definitely be coming out this year. I'm speculating Q4. And by the way, this game published in the West by Amazon Games. So we definitely have the end with that. Yeah.
There you go. Right, okay, that was it. That's all I wanted to ask. So I'm happy.
Is there any questions you had for us, Kanon? I mean, if you don't have any, it's okay. That's all right. That's all right.
No, like my questions would be just to catch up with you guys personally, you know, how life has been and what you guys are doing with your content and where you're planning on going, you know, just things like that. Yeah.
Go for it, DJ.
I feel bad because we're going to keep you from sleeping again, but things are good. Coming back to content creation as more of a full-time thing for me, you know, I did really well for a while there, like last year, and then we had a bunch of stuff happen and then moved, and now I'm in this office. I feel like I'm in like a place that I can do the stuff that I was excited to do last year.
Actual work studio.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. And so I'm feeling like I'm finally in that like home feeling. So yeah, hopefully start, you know, pumping out some YouTube content and doing more stuff like this. Like I wanted to bring back the podcast. I asked Ben to, you know, come on and do this with me, and I'm really appreciative of him getting me back into the space where I could just talk to the people that, you know, I really like enjoy chatting with. Like, I mean, Kanon, you and I have had chats off stream and stuff like that, and it's just like that's the most fun for me, you know, like being able to pick people's brain and talk about this thing that we're so passionate about. So
for
getting back
sure.
into that.
Yeah.
Ben, what have you been up to?
What, me? Yeah. So for me, yeah. I mean, me, it's always tricky because it's dad life. So I've got to work everything around family.
Tough,
got a 3-year-old, and I try and do this like as full time as I can. But then we've got like our biltong business on the side that me and the missus do, and then we've got like loads of shows coming up. Where a show is like it's like a market stall. We go out to like there's various different shows around, and we just set up like a stall, sell biltong. Plus we got the shop, online orders. Trying to balance all of this is really tricky. But it's really rewarding when you pump out a video and it gets like 5, 10, 15, or sometimes even like 40, 50k views. You get like a bunch of comments and things. Some of them a bit troll, as you probably know. But like loads of them are really quite nice. You see like it's gonna, it feels really nice to be able to kind of get some time to do that. Plus
it's so rewarding.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Plus I've just got this camera. So I've kind of like revamped a little bit. I got the camera, I can put the lights in the scene. I've taken the glass off, got some contacts and things in. And I feel like I've just like freshened a bit, and it's cool, and I like it.
I love that.
That's good. You know what? Another thing that I do love talking about, I'll close this out. Another thing that I do love talking about is it just content creating. You know, like I love talking about gaming because we're gamers, and I just have a strong passion for content creating itself too. So like I know I've spoken with DJ in the past, well, even recently too, but mainly in the past we would talk about content creating and stuff like that, and that's just another thing that I'm really passionate about. I enjoy it because it's like content creating is also a game to me.
Oh yeah.
And that, you know, like I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and that's exactly what content creating is. It's a game. It's like you're trying to grow, like you try to grow your character in an MMO. You try to grow your brand. You try to grow your channel and with content creating. So it's just really fun for me for sure. So
it's all progression.
I like talking about.
It's like when you're progressing, and then that's the thing we were talking about like Lost Ark towards like the start and things. Lost Ark growth just died. Like, bro, remember leading up to launch, the month leading up to launch of Lost Ark? That shit was wild, man. I think I went from like 8,000 or 9,000 subs to nearly 30 in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Like on YouTube, that growth was wild. I was just like, oh my god, like the dopamine rush from something like that. If only that
was really exciting.
It was really exciting.
It is.
I'm a little tilted because PvP obviously died a horrible death.
Bet on that.
But it was so much fun, dude. Oh my god.
You know what the thing is, DJ? I fell victim to the same thing. You did. I just got out earlier. Same thing would have happened to me if I had spent the beta days and the earlier days in the other regions focusing on PvE, then I would have definitely had a bigger presence. But You know what I mean? So it's me and you, same boat. The only difference was I pivoted at launch.
Yeah,
You
and
didn't.
I kept going. I had this idea
Yeah.
in my head that we would have a shift in terms of what tournaments were coming out, because I felt like I had a big voice in how tournaments were being ran, and I was saying like, yes, this is cool. Like these weekly tournaments are cool, but we need a league if you want to progress. We need something that people can watch on a weekly basis, root for the same teams, root for people that they can identify with easily and say,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's the Shadow Hunter player, this guy's the Paladin player. Like, this is exciting. They're in this matchup.
Right.
These teams are jumbling around, but give people like storylines to identify with. That's what I was excited for with PvP. And then all these groups started coming in, and it was just like a tournament every other day. And I was just like, either I create content and like try and talk about like PvE stuff, or I keep practicing, I keep scrimming, I try and go to like a certain level of professional. I'm fucking 36 years old, bro. Professional isn't the same as it was when I was 17, you know what I mean? But I still have that like that fire for PvP in me. So it was one of those things I was like, I have to do this.
Yeah, you got to do
and
it.
so
Yeah.
it all took a step back, and then a lot of like real life stuff happened, and so beyond that, like, had to take a step back in that direction. But man, PvP was so good. I wish that somebody took a chance on my idea and still let me be a player in it rather than directing the idea myself. And that's where I feel like I faltered. But I had a blast, dude. Playing in that G4 tournament, making that run felt real good. I'll tell you what. Like,
Yeah.
that was something very, like, being able to have Captain Flowers, like a person that I watch League of Legends to this day, like all the time. I hear his voice all the time. Having him say my name in that competitive setting was like such a cool feeling for me.
Be honest.
Like,
be honest, DJ.
mm-hmm.
How many times? Be honest. How many times did you rewatch that video?
I think
be honest.
Twice.
Shut
okay,
up,
like
you're
legit front to back.
You watched that
twice.
shit at least 10 times.
Because the reason we only watched it that many times is because we lost in the finals, and I was mad about it because I said this, and I'll stand by it to this day. Everybody that played, other than our teammate, which was Bajira, I love Bajira. I think he's an incredibly talented player when it comes to MMOs. If you gave us another week, I think we win that tournament. And we didn't have the time. So we trained Bajira in PvP like I think it was 2 weeks. We played with him, I think 5 times in a like just queuing up PvP because nobody would scrim us. And then we had 1 day of scrims where we played against Virus, Starlast, and Saint. And it was the day before. And we lost 10-2. Okay. And so we were like going in, we're like, oh, dude, is this going to be like a fucking stomp? We're worried. And then we lost in the beginning because we had to play them originally. And then we go through losers, beat every other team and obviously there was a bunch of people that don't play PvP. I totally get why. Like we made the run that we did, but it felt good for me and Odie to be able to take Bajira from this guy that was probably like silver rated in ranked to probably somewhat like a high diamond master level player in terms of just like talking him through matchups and ideas and just like that. Oh man, that whole like teaching somebody. I love coaching. I love like the PvP competitive aspect. Just being able to do that was so much fun. And then losing in the end to Saint, who's obviously like OG Lost Ark, and then Starlast and Virus being incredible players.
Dude, nobody was gonna beat Saint's team. I think they even called it at the beginning of the tournament too, didn't I? I'm pretty sure Saint's team's gonna win.
Yeah, because I mean, Virus and Starlast had won the tournament right before that. I think it had been like a couple weeks since we had won a tournament, so it was me and Odie against Virus and Starlast was kind of the idea that we had in our head as well of the players that were playing in serious tournaments. So that's what we were thinking about. But anyways, of course I watched it back. That shit gives you goosebumps, man. You gotta watch it. How many times did you watch me? Did you watch the 1v1 tournament from Russia?
I didn't.
Exactly, because you got like it's that feeling of like
I wouldn't have watched it if I won, bro.
Oh come on! You
Bro,
would watch that shit on stream. Get out of here!
No chance.
Get out of here!
Bro, I didn't even, dude. I didn't even practice for that shit, man. I had no
I
interest.
saw you practicing on stream. Don't lie.
Day. I practiced that day before because I mean, what else am I gonna do? Fucking, we're about to play, so of course I'm gonna practice then. But yeah, I didn't. I just took the bag. I was there for the bag, man. I was there for the bag, and I left. I was like, yeah, I'll stay up, have fun.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was.
No, I had fun. I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
I knew that like that 1v1 was not. It was like you and I were just like we had talked about it before that we were memeing around a little bit with both playing Paladin in a tournament setting.
Yeah. Like I'll be honest, the tournament that I did with Nico and Hillen, I can't remember whose tournament. That one
that was the beta one. That was the beta tournament.
Yeah, that one I try-harded. The one that we did, I honestly didn't care because
no, I know
it's the 1v1. It's not a
it's Lost Ark 1v1s. They're not balanced.
With
also, we're playing Paladin.
Like,
yeah.
Fuck
yeah. No, the beta
fun.
tournament was really fun. That was a good one too. I had a lot of fun doing that. But anyways, we should let you get some rest.
Yeah, man. You need to get some sleep.
I think. Yeah,
you got a stream coming up in a couple hours, right? Like 2 hours? You're gonna get like a little nap and start streaming.
I think 3 hour. I'll probably do a 3 hour. I'll figure out the schedule while I'm in bed, but I'll try to do 3. Yeah, because I gotta leave at 8. So if I do it at 3, then I'll get 5 hours in. I think I'm just gonna watch videos and react to content. So
yeah,
good idea.
It's Swan saying Kanon sleep. That's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Yeah,
Kanon don't sleep.
No, I've not recently. That's for sure.
Man.
Well, yeah, not recently.
Thank you for slotting us some time and coming on to chat with us, dude. We really,
my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
We'll be chatting soon, I'm sure. We'll get you on for some more. When something comes out, you know, we'll have to pick your brain about more.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Ben.
Again, thank you, DJ. Thanks, chat.
Like, holy shit.
Appreciate you, chat. We don't really have time chat today for like questions for chat. I think because we've kept Kanon quite a lot, and he's got a very busy schedule. So because last time at the end we did some questions. So yeah, I think we'll just call it there for today. But
yeah.
I can appreciate you guys. Thanks, Kanon. It's really good, Kanon, to finally have like a face-to-face in it.
Let's do it again, please. Hit me up anytime. I would love to do it.
We'll do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you go, my dude. Have a wonderful 2 hours of sleep and have a wonderful stream. We'll all pop in later. I'm gonna go back to sleep myself.
Yeah.
It's I've gotten 2 hours of sleep and I'm still tired.
Yeah, you should get some sleep too. Same boat. All right, boys. Girls, see ya. Thank you.
See you later.